believe that pay-per-view ended like that, yo. Oh my god. Oh my god. What a beautiful disaster that was. I'm telling you. Just that closing few minutes of that pay-per-view. That was just priceless. Fucking. Oh god. Lord have mercy, man. Lord have mercy. I've seen some shit in my time, but that fucking tickled me so goddamn silly to see the way that pay-per-view ended. Seriously. Oh shit. Oh shit. This is gonna be a fun show. I can tell you that right now. This is gonna be a fun show. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. This is gonna be one of those rare nights. I think I might be in my rarest form. Alright. Alright, we're gonna load this up, man. We're gonna start this show. Looks like we loading up to our audience. That's good. Let me just swap out this thumbnail. Lord have mercy. If you'd have told me tonight's pay-per-view was gonna end like that, I'd have said, bullshit. Bullshit, no way it's gonna end like that. Nah, hell nah. But it actually ended like that. Alright, let's do it.
Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, good kind people? You're checking out I'm sorry. You're checking out a special Sunday night edition. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. But the way that pay-per-view ended, I mean... Oh shit. Woo. I wonder if we should do another take. Woo. Woo. So you're checking out the RCWR show for Sunday night, March 7th. Oh, you watching the RCWR show? Whoo! Lee Sanders here. Sunday night, March 7th, 2021. I think I got it all out of my system now. I think I'm good. We'll see. So we're just like not even 5 minutes removed from the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. And, man. Whew, okay, I think I'm good. I think it's all out the system now. Okay. And the way we go off the air, it kind of reminded me of one of my favorite comic book arcs. And that's when Doomsday was coming. You just knew that this thing called Doomsday, you knew that this was something that was just out of this world, that it was something that was very extraordinary. This was a once in a lifetime of an ordeal here that was coming. Anybody that remembers the Doomsday story arc in the DC Comics back when it actually had came about and everything, this was something that just dominated the entire DC universe, and there was many issues. It wasn't just all about Superman. Of course, we saw how it ended there, but it wasn't something that just affected Superman. It also crossed over into the Batman, Justice League. I mean, you name it. There's so many comics that it had affected and everything. And the one thing that was always in my mind from that Doomsday series, that Doomsday saga, was the clock. If you guys remember the infamous clock, and when it was pretty much fucking counting down and all that. And so this ties into what I'm talking about with the main event match. Okay, so if you didn't see the pay-per-view, you ain't gonna understand why the fuck your man over here was just bawling out in tears. But I promise you, if you go out of your way and you at least somehow manage to get a hold of this exploding barbed wire match in its entirety, then you understand why the hell I had a nice hearty laugh there. All right, so final moments of this match, we see Kenny Omega. It's a numbers game, okay? Don't worry, we're going out of order, but don't worry, we're going to take it from the top and all that. But I say go in strong, right? So, closing moments of this matchup, the Good Brothers, the Big LG, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, they come on out there. They help their boy Kenny Omega out. All right, so it is literally a 3-on-1 handicap on Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley tried with all his might, but he was no match for the 3-on-1 beatdown. And it was just a bloody fucking massacre. So after pretty much Kenny Omega picks up on the sloppy seconds of all the assaults that was coming to Moxley and everything, he pretty much wraps up the match, retains his championship. But that's not where things get interesting. Where it starts to get interesting is they're continuing to beat down poor Moxley for about 5 minutes. I mean, it just feels like it's an eternity. You're going, what exactly is going on here? Why are we still on the air? Okay, we get it. We get it. Moxley won. He retained his title. Why are we still on the air? Just go off already. But then you're kind of thinking to yourself, all right, well, maybe they're still lingering here because something is supposed to happen. Something special is about to go down. So if you're like me, you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, maybe, just maybe, the new person that signed their AEW contract live at Revolution, maybe they're going to get involved somehow in this. Maybe they're going to come to the aid of Jon Moxley. Okay, well, wait a minute. Let's see what's going to happen. No, that's not what we get. Instead, going back to that Doomsday Saga arc, we get this big-ass clock that appears on the Titantron, and we hear all these fucking sirens and all kinds of fucking shit. And you're going, what the fuck is going on here, you know? And there's this countdown, and you're like, wait, what does that mean? What's going on? And you hear the commentators, they're going, everybody might want to go ahead and get out of the ring, you know, all hell about to break loose. And you're like, wait, what the hell are they talking about? What do they mean all hell is about to break loose? What the hell are they talking about here? And finally, I don't know which commentator it was, because like you're wondering as the viewer, what the fuck is going on with the countdown? Is there like another surprise that's coming? You know, are we maybe about to get an appearance from somebody we've yet to see that's about to make their shocking debut here in AEW? What's going on here? And it's like an eternity before one of the commentators just kind of nonchalantly, it gets down to zero, all hell's going to break loose, there's going to be a lot of explosions. So you're like, oh, so you mean that whoever's still in the ring, when the fucking countdown goes to zero, there's just going to be poof, poof, pam, pam, pow, 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 all over the place. So that's why there is this, okay, well, maybe we should, like, have this sense of urgency and be yelling and, you know, for the love of God, somebody get Moxley out of there. Oh, all hell about to break loose, you know, something like that. We don't get that at all. No, you know, not on the lens that I'm talking about. Not at the lens that I'm talking about. So we see Kenny Omega, Good Brothers, they make their exit, and they're celebrating everything. Eddie Kingston, of all people, Eddie Kingston comes out, and Omega and them, they're like, what? What the hell does that do mean to you? Come on. Now the real winners are over here, man. What the hell? Eddie Kingston gets in there. He's shaking the hell out of a comatose Moxley. He's doing all his best. You know, come on, man, come on. He's trying to do everything. He's trying to actually pick Moxley up. I guess Moxley is a little bit too heavy or whatever the case may be. And then finally, the countdown, you realize there's like about 10 seconds left. 10 seconds at this point. Kingston is trying his damnedest, but Moxley is not moving. So what does Eddie Kingston do? You know, if there was ever a time where you just go, you know what? I tried. Let me go save myself. Hey, you know, in storyline, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But no, we see Eddie Kingston like a true fucking soldier. This man just uncharacteristically covers Moxley, covers his upper portion of his body while he's laid out in the ring, face and all, covers him up like a fucking doomsday bomb is about to drop. And you're just saying, okay, this is going to be epic. This is going to be fucking cool. We're going to see fucking explosions and everything. There's going to be a whole bunch of shit that's just going to be just exploding. Visually, the presentation, this is going to be awesome. Okay, well, here we go. And you know, instead what we got when it hit zero? Instead of this massive explosion that looks like a colorful nuke bomb or whatever, you know, no, what we get is basically a couple of 4th of July firecrackers in each of the turnbuckles. There's a little something on the side aprons, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It was the worst visual effect I've ever seen. I don't know what was going on there, but obviously that was... Look, it was either two things. I'm being real with you guys, okay? I'm going to try to do my best not to bust out laughing again, but I got to be real with you guys. Either that was a serious technical problem, you know, that was a serious tech problem, or they did not get enough fireworks over the weekend. I don't know which one it is. I'm leaning a little bit more towards some type of a tech issue because I have the feeling that a lot more was supposed to happen there during that explosion. But what we got visually was very piss poor. Very piss poor. But you know what, man? You got to give, look, say what you will about those final moments of that. You got to give Eddie Kingston a lot of fucking props because he continued selling the fuck out of it. He continued. I mean, he stayed covering Moxley the entire time. He was in that moment, devoted to his character, devoted to that story arc and all that. He continued to sell the shit out of that. He did not get off of Moxley for nothing. You see Doc Sampson, you see a couple of other officials, they're coming, they're checking everything out and everything. And they're trying to do their best to get Kingston off of fucking Moxley, and Kingston is just continuing to sell the hell out of this. Look, I gotta applaud him for doing that. I'm not sure if he was even aware how shit visually those explosions looked, but talk about a guy that is dedicated to his character, dedicated to the story arc and everything. Mad fucking respect for that. Mad fucking respect. But while you're having mad respect for Eddie Kingston selling the hell out of this, you can't help but just laugh hysterically. Okay, even the most hardcore AEW fan cannot look at those last 3 minutes and be like, oh my God, what a beautiful masterpiece. What? No, even the most hardcore AEW fan, I would like to believe, would go, you know, that... Not for nothing. Yeah, that shit was kind of funny there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because, I mean, all I saw was twinkle, twinkle, little star firecrackers there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was pretty terrible. Okay. But the barbed wire, you know, the exploding barbed wire match itself, overall, was fucking good, despite what happened in those last couple of minutes, you know? I would say that it is definitely, and we're still early in 2021, I would definitely say that it's a match of the year candidate. Okay? Big difference between saying, oh, that's match of the year and match of the year candidate. When I say match of the year candidate, I'm letting you guys know that when we get to the year-end awards, because we will be bringing it back this year, I decided to not do a 2020 year-end awards, considering there was only but a couple of promotions that were active. But when we do it for 2021 at the end of the year, this is definitely one of the matches I'm personally putting in my little list folder that I'll revisit. And then when it comes time, we got to trim the fat and figure out, okay, what's going to make the top 10 essentially, and what's maybe going to be slightly outside of that, get an honorable mention and everything. I'm definitely putting this match on the list. Seriously, definitely. What did you guys think about tonight's AEW Revolution pay-per-view event? Sound off. Let me know. We got 2 polls that's up right now. One on Twitter at the RCWR Show and another one on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and cast your vote that way. Right now, voting is still relatively early on the Twitter, but right now I'm seeing there's about 69.2% of you that's giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Meanwhile, a little bit over 30% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Now, for those of you that maybe are watching this through Twitter or Periscope, we also happen to be streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. If you happen to look at the polling options on Twitter and you're going, man, I wish there was a middle option, or I wish there was, I try to keep it as simple as possible on Twitter. But for those of you that like a little bit of variety, there's actually more options on YouTube. So again, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and go that way. I can't wait to see what everybody, as far as when I mean everybody, I can't wait to see particularly what the wrestling websites, the dirt sheets, I can't wait to see what they have to say about this exploding barbed wire match. Because to kind of follow up on what Jon Moxley had said right before we went into this weekend's pay-per-view, he was hearing a lot of the buzz that was out there from people that were being negative on AEW of why are they even doing this kind of match? This is just... at first it was, oh man, this is going to be cool. But then these same people that were saying all of that, they didn't do their research to see what was happening with these previous kind of matches. And then once some of them did, it was a case of, well, wait a minute. No, that's too inhumane. That's too barbaric. No, AEW shouldn't be doing this. Why are they stooping to such new lows, blah, 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 blah. And Jon Moxley's message to those fans, hey, if this is one of those kind of matches that's going to bother you, then my biggest piece of advice, don't watch it. So I can't wait to see what the dirt sheets, websites that were already feeling a little bit finicky, I can't wait to see what they have to say particularly about this match. Or are they going to be, okay, you know what, let's put our personal preferences to the side and let's just look at this in comparison to previous exploding barbed wire matches. How did this stack up compared to those? Look, I think when it's all said and done, it held up pretty good. Yeah, I think it held up pretty good. I found it to be a thoroughly entertaining, very engaging match. I mean, if you were to tell me that this would be one of those type of matches where we would see a barbed wire come to the face of Moxley on more than one occasion, we'd see Moxley get busted open like a stuffed pig. Omega, to a certain degree, he got bloodied up a little bit too, but not as crimson red there as Moxley ended up getting. But overall, key thing, entertaining matchup. I would say to you guys, okay, well, you know what? Sounds to me then, if it was that entertaining, that both men actually went out there and they hit a fucking home run. And for me personally, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me, despite the technical bullshit there at the end, this was actually a damn good, entertaining match. I mean, for me, and look, I'm just talking about for me personally, because for me personally, I grew up during that time when ECW was around, and I remember the hardcore scene, the backyard wrestling and all that, and that's something that I'm still quite a big fan of to this very day. So there's always going to be that part of me that, okay, if you can give me a really good story, it can be a silly story, but make it good. Make it a good, silly story. But if you can string everything together and it's on point, and you're going to go to the levels of what Moxley and Omega did tonight, but have it be very entertaining, okay, I'm there for the ride. I will fucking eat that shit up, and I will fucking enjoy it. The exploding barbed wire death match, fucking awesome. I love the build to it. It was a nice, good, slow start and everything. I love how they took their time to just build up, because you're wondering, okay, how are we eventually going to see these guys get put in a situation where shit starts exploding? Like, you knew it wasn't just going to happen off the break. Now, look. I do have one bone to pick with regards to this match. As good as this match was, I do have one bone to pick with this. And I had stressed this on social media. And shout out to everybody I was interacting with, whether I was interacting with you via DMs or chatting it up with you in the Discord. Because I mainly was hanging out with folks pretty much all night in the Discord, watching the pay-per-view and everything. I said, wait a minute here. Stupid Booking 101. Answer this question for me. And I'm going to read to you exactly the tweet that I put out there. My phone is just buzzing because I'm seeing I'm getting a couple of new followers. Be prepared. I'm going to be looking at your profile, making sure you're actually a real person. I said, Stupid Booking 101. If the ropes are supposed to explode every time someone bumps into them or touches them, then why did the Good Brothers not get exploded there? Now, for those of you that saw the pay-per-view, okay, I mean, how do we explain that there? You know, was that a case where explosives had ran out or something? This is kind of one of those fine little pieces of detail that I wish the color commentators, somebody between the three of them, would have been able to capitalize on and somehow acknowledge that. I wish one of the commentators would have said, hey, wait a minute, it's the Good Brothers. What the hell are they doing out here? Well, blah, blah, blah. You know exactly why they're out here. Omega is their boy. Yeah, but wait a minute. You sure they're going to be able to get in there? What if they get exploded by those wires? You know, they're triggered to, hey, wait, what's going on? How come they were able to? How do you explain that? What the hell's going on here? Yeah, I would have loved if they'd have at least, you call me a sucker. You can call me a sucker for that fine little, touch of detail and everything. But if you can have Omega and Moxley going at it several minutes and they're being ever so delicate, trying to make sure that they stay away from the ropes and everything, because the way it's programmed in our mind is they touch those ropes, there's going to be a whole lot of exploding going on, then that, for me, that visual of seeing the Good Brothers come in there, not even, you know what, it would have been badass if we could have at least seen them come out there and then take some type of a foreign object, a bat or something, hit the fucking ropes just to see if they were going to fucking, let off some type of fireworks or whatever, some type of an explosion. And if they didn't, then go into the ring and proceed to, you gotta think like that. Very, very weird. Very weird. I don't care if it was a 3-sided ring. I don't care if it was only triggered for only 2 sides of the ring. It's all mental. You feel where I'm coming from? It's all about the suspension of disbelief. That's what you're ultimately supposed to be selling in these kind of matches. We as fans, we're led visually to assume, oh, well, it looks like the explosion is happening here and here, but it doesn't look like it's happening over here or over here. Okay, that's our perception, but perception can be deceptive, can it not? It is the act of illusion that they are supposed to give out. And I just kind of felt as though they really did not give that out, that it should have continued on. You can argue with me till you're blue in the face. You can say, oh, but this, no, it's, trust me, I've seen so many of these kind of matches over the years. And maybe it's just the old man in me that's kind of being that stickler for detail and everything. But I'm sorry, there's just no way. I don't care what the fuck is going on. You don't just have 2 guys just run out there to the aid of their boy without first at least testing shit out just to make sure they ain't about to get themselves into some type of a fucked up spot. Because, see, we'd be having an entirely different conversation right now if the Good Brothers had came out and they called themselves getting in there, and then the fucking ropes had exploded and they get caught up in the crosshairs. See? You see what I'm talking about? Nobody else mentioned this online. Nobody else had mentioned this online. So, to my point, the fact that nobody else was mentioning this online, don't jump on the bandwagon now that I'm putting it out there, right? If you put it out there on social media, good for you, right? I'm not going to read your fucking timeline. But from what I saw online, most people they just lost in the moment. Lost in the moment. And Jamie is saying he hopes Eddie Kingston has been taken. Hey, man, it's part of the story. It's part of the story. Much like what went down with Shaq on Wednesday, right? Much like what went down with Shaq on Wednesday. But no, that was a really good exploding barbed wire matchup. Good fucking matchup there. Let's kick it off from the top. Let's look at the rest of these matches that had came about. We did finally get to see who the big reveal was too, by the way, the new addition to AEW. We'll get to that in a hot second. We had our pre-show match that went down during the Revolution buy-in. This pretty much was on maybe a half hour or more. Your boy don't know, honestly, because I actually was watching All-Star Weekend. I was watching the 3-Point Challenge, and yo, I gotta give a mad fucking shout out to Conley and to Steph Curry, because what they did in that 3-Point Challenge tonight, that 3-Point challenge presented by Mountain Dew, that was the most exciting shit that I have seen All-Star Weekend in several years now, since they've pretty much introduced this new format. I've enjoyed it, like, and not just with the new format, but I would dare say within the past 10 years, because I've watched all the All-Star weekends as far back as like when I was a teen or whatever, but I'm willing to jump out there and say within the last 10 years, what Conley and Curry did tonight for that 3-Point Challenge, they were bringing it. If you guys did not see it yet, maybe you got it on the DVR because of the pay-per-view or whatever, you all are going to fucking enjoy that, especially if you did a good job staying off of social media, looking up All-Star Weekend results for the most part. That shit was, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. I didn't watch the All-Star game yet, so please, no spoilers, but I do have it on the DVR, so after I get done with this show for you guys, I'm definitely going to be watching that. So, but my point, I did not get a chance to check out the buy-in, so I actually missed this pre-show matchup. Pre-show matchup consisted of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Mikey, I'll just call her Maki? I think that's her name, Maki, with Rebel. They defeated Rio and Thunder Rosa in a tag team matchup. Looks like that match went about almost 15 minutes. I'm assuming it was a good match, because not for nothing, but what Britt Baker and Nyla Rose did about 2 weeks ago, and not to mention, just going a little bit further, Britt Baker has been somewhat on a really good roll the past several months now. You want to talk about most improved wrestler, she's done fucking amazing. Actual pay-per-view card, we go Young Bucks, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, defeating the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho, MJF, to retain their AEW World Tag Team titles. Match went about 18 minutes, give or take. By the way, this pay-per-view, when it was all said and done, this pay-per-view, which started at 8 p.m., went until about, I would say, how long we've been on the air now? Let me look here, as I got the recorder going. We've been on the air for about 28 minutes, so what's that? 55, 54, 3, 2, 1, 55. So pay-per-view went off at about 11:45, so yeah, you do the math right there. So 3 hours and almost 45 minutes of a pay-per-view it was. A lot of us were kind of wagering there. We thought that maybe this pay-per-view was going to keep going until about almost 1 a.m. So it was actually a little bit nice to see it go off quarter to 15 minutes before midnight. It was kind of nice to see that go down. But yeah, Young Bucks defeating the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho, MJF, for the AEW World Tag Team titles. I was rooting for Jericho and MJF there. I was really hoping that they were going to pull through here. You notice I didn't give any predictions for this one. I mainly was sidetracked with some studies and all that. So I really didn't get a chance to sit down and give my predictions. So it was nice to just sit down, not think predictions, and just actually watch these matches, take them all in for what it was worth. I thought this was a good opener for the pay-per-view. way too many false finishes for me, though, because it was getting to that point. Goddamn, we could take a gun, boosh, and, you know, we could fucking shoot one of the Bucks in the heart and go for the cover, and it's going to get a near fall. We can hit one of the Bucks with a hammer over the head. You know, we did see some shenanigans go down from the side of Inner Circle because Wardlow was interfering more than once. And it just seemed like despite the interferences there, despite the shenanigans, referee distractions and all that, Bucks were just able to continue to get out. And you're just going, so how exactly is this going to end? Because all these goddamn false finishes, it's like, man, you know, what the fuck? Where are we going with this, man? Like, seriously, where the fuck are we going with this? So for me, the false finishes, that was really kind of making me feel totally exhausted. But it was still a really good matchup. Closing moments of this one, Wardlow coming up on the apron. Your referee, by the way, was Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey distracted once again. Jericho comes in. He has a bat. He's actually trying to attack, you know, one of the Young Bucks. Heat Seeker from MJF goes in for the cover. That only gets a near fall. MJF is pissed. You know, you're like, man, we could see something kind of break up here if MJF and Jericho don't hurry up and continue staying on the same page quick and just get this match over with. Because the longer the match continues, somehow, as we've seen, history has shown, Bucks just, they're somehow able to kick it into another gear. They find that necessary endurance that they need and everything. So after that, Jericho, MJF, they try to double team on Matt in the corner. Whip to the corner. Whipped Jericho into a boot from Nick. Matt holds the ropes. MJF flies over it. Was able to get the hot tag in to Nick. Nick comes off of the top rope. Waiting for Jericho to turn. Wham! You got Matt on the corner too now. Crossbodies off the top rope to Jericho. MJF on the outside. Cover for another near fall. Judas effect is applied, but Wardlow is on the apron, and somehow he ends up eating it. Nick rolls up, another near fall. Nick hits the ropes once again. Jericho decks him, just cold clocks the shit out of him. Lion Salt kicks in, but the Bucks manage to get in the super kick while Jericho tries to do that Lion Salt. BTE trigger. Near fall. Again, you see what I'm talking about? I mean, this was just a sample of the near falls that was happening all throughout the night. But super kicks, back and forth, super kick fucking party is pretty much what got the 1, 2, 3 on Jericho. Jericho eating the fucking pin there. A little bit chaotic during this match, I would have to say. And following up on everything that I had said earlier about, okay, what exactly with the false finishes and, man, props being used, all these distractions and all that shit. But despite that, it was still a good match. And again, these boys, they went about 18 plus minutes, I would say, give or take. Now, later on in the match, or after the match, MJF and Jericho were caught up with backstage, and I forgot who was interviewing them, but basically thoughts about what happened there in that opener against the Bucks. And MJF alluded to the fact that there's gonna have to be some changes, you know, maybe changes for the better within the Inner Circle. And Jericho, yeah, that was a little bit perplexing to me because I was waiting to hear Jericho say something along the lines of, you know, what exactly are you alluding to? What exactly are you talking about? You know, you want to clue me in? You know, I'm kind of in the dark here, MJF. What exactly are you talking about? We got a problem? Something I need to know? I would have preferred it had Jericho kind of sold it like that a little bit, but instead Jericho just kind of came off naive and, yeah, baby, what he said. You know, it was kind of like one of those type of deals. And you're just able to see the writing on the wall right there. This all pretty much links back to what we've seen on AEW, how it played out over the past couple of weeks there. Remember when MJF had a few words there with some of the guys in the inner circle. He had the cameras leave the locker room and all that. So I kind of feel as though something that I've been wanting to see, that I've been passionately talking about on the show off and on for several months now, MJF ultimately becomes a new leader of the inner circle. Jericho gets kicked out of the inner circle, and thus ultimately it sets up a babyface turn for Jericho, which a lot of fans, to a certain degree, they've actually been wanting to see a face Jericho resurface. So, and honestly, a face Jericho working against a heel MJF, I think that would be pretty damn good. So look, despite the fact that MJF and Jericho didn't win the tag titles, which I would have loved to see, there's a bigger story that's playing out here. And I'm all for the bigger story if it's a case of, well, what I just said. We're basically going to get a new inner circle leader while Jericho gets booted out. I'm actually okay with that. So as long as it culminates in a way where Jericho goes on a little bit of a hiatus for maybe about 3 months just to really fucking sell that fucking angle, and then when he comes back, somehow he's repackaged as a babyface, new attire and all that. Maybe you can still have him come out to the little Judas song, though. I think you should still have him come out to the Judas song. But good matchup. Definitely would say that was a good matchup. Next up, second matchup of the evening, Casino Tag Team Royale. By the way, those of you that's looking for me to talk about the barbed wire exploding thingamajigga, I spent about almost 25 minutes talking about it. So I don't know how it is for Twitch and the other platforms, but I know for YouTube, you can definitely, even though we're live right now, at least on YouTube, you can definitely rewind it back and you can see the funny opener to talking about that. If all you want is to hear the barbed wire shit and nothing else, you're welcome. Next matchup, Casino Tag Team Royale. Your participants in this one, let me see if I can actually get a can I get my list here? We got the Natural Nightmares versus the Dark Orders 5 and 10, Santana and Ortiz, Matt Sydal, Dark Orders Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, the Gun Club, Peter Avalon, Caesar, the Varsity Blondes, Jurassic Express, Butcher, Blade, Private Party, SCU, Ray Phoenix, Pac, Dark Orders, Silver, and Reynolds. That was pretty much all the teams that was involved in this Casino Tag Team Royale. Me personally, I actually would have preferred it if this would have been part of the pre-show. I'm just saying, me personally, teach its own. I would have preferred it if this match would have been on the pre-show and Dr. Britt Baker, Maki, Rio, Thunder Rosa, if that actually would have made it to the actual pay-per-view card as well. I'm all about the women getting that extra love when it comes to pay-per-view nights and everything. And for me personally, I just kind of felt that with all of those names that you had that was on that pre-show, nah, man, those are some cool kick-ass names. They've earned the right to be on the actual pay-per-view card, especially given the fact that there's some built-in storylines there with some of those girls, right? That's been playing out on Dynamite and everything, and it's interesting too, because it would have made all the sense in the world to have those girls just actually perform on the pay-per-view card, considering what had happened later on in the night. I'll explain when we get to that respected matchup. But that Casino Tag Team Royale, winners of that one, Santana and Ortiz. There was a stupid moment that came in the match. I don't know if it was from QT Marshall. I would have to rely on you guys. I believe it was QT Marshall that was teamed up with Dustin Reynolds. There was something weird that had happened where QT decided to take out some of his fellow brothers from the Elite or whatever. And Dustin was pissed off at him. He's like, dude, why are you doing that? Those were our brothers. Why did you do that? It should be all about the numbers game. That's what we should be doing right now. Why did you do that? And QT was just so fucking pissed off, and he just looked at fucking Dustin, and he actually eliminated himself, spit in the direction of Dustin, and fucking took off. So that was just a very weird kind of, yeah. But as some of you had told me in the Discord, you said, hey, that's QT Marshall for you, Lee. He just is in a world of his own there, dog. Like, okay, all right, I got you. But yeah, Santana, Ortiz, picking up the dub there. It was interesting. No, not Santana and Ortiz. Hang on. No. It wasn't Santana and Ortiz that picked up the W there. I don't know. They actually came out next. That's what I was thinking. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, they actually came out. Then you had Matt, Mike Seidel. Yeah, it's coming to. I'm just thinking about the order in which the guys came out. Yeah, my notes are a little bit jumbled up there. Sorry about that, guys. Bear Country was out there as well. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, they were out there. I thought it was going to come down to Private Party as far as who I wanted to see win. I thought Private Party or Pac and Ray Phoenix. I personally would have been happy with just one of those teams to freaking be there at the end. But instead, it came down to Ray Phoenix, Jungle Boy. That's who it came down to. And that was a nice little good one-on-one. And basically, whoever won that, their respective team will go on to advance and everything. And I tell you what, Ray Phoenix and Pac, they really fucking took it to another level there, man. The more I'm seeing from these guys, I'm going, yeah, as far as future TNT championship material goes and everything, yeah, Ray Phoenix and Pac, those are definitely your guys right there. Lot of teams on this damn roster. You know, it never really dawned on me until now, because I don't do like some of you guys, and I don't check out Dark every single fucking week. I'll maybe watch a couple of highlights here and there, but for the most part, I'm mainly watching Dynamite and I'm watching the pay-per-view. But it didn't really dawn on me until tonight. Goddamn, AEW really has a loaded up fucking roster here, especially as far as their tag team division goes. I felt that this was a little bit too long of a match. You know, it went damn near 30 minutes. I think if we could have trimmed this down by about, maybe 10, 13 minutes, I think that really would have sufficed. That way, you know, essentially, if you really stop and think about it, you could have essentially given that 11, 12, 13 minutes to Britt Baker and them for the actual pay-per-view card. And look, if you want to have your pre-show, and I was just flabbergasted when I saw this. At one point, they showed Jade Cargill at ringside in street clothes. And there was no acknowledgement whatsoever of Jade. No acknowledgement by the commentators. And I'm just going, man, whose fucking fault is that in the back for not mentioning Jade? That would have been, I mean, and it was like we saw her more than once. You had the right moments of opportunity where you could have easily said, as some of you guys might be able to see, some of our talents or some of our performers on our roster are here in attendance with the fans as well. There's Jade Cargill. Hey, what a great performance that she had this past Wednesday on Dynamite with Shaquille O'Neal. You know, you see all the great positive feedback she's been getting online. That would have been a nice little, you feel where I'm coming from? But to see somebody like Jade Cargill that was at ringside, and man, if there was ever anybody you could have, okay, well, you know what? Put her on the pre-show. You know, let her have a match against, you know, whoever. The little girl that, I don't mean to call her a little girl eater, but you know exactly the woman I'm talking about. The woman that I guess stands about 4'8", and she kind of wears like an Olympic looking outfit kind of or whatever. Olympic outfit, kind of Jordan Grace-ish kind of outfit. Let Jade Cargill take her on, you know, boom, pick up a nice little W right there. That would have been an okay pre-show, me personally, but anyway. But yeah, the team of Death Triangle, Ray Phoenix, and Ray Phoenix, and I'm drawing a blank. Ray Phoenix and Pac, Bastard Pac. They picked up the dub there, so good for them. And remember, with that match, they get a future AEW World Tag Team Championship match. So at a later date, they are going to be taking on the Bucks for those titles. All right, next matchup. Akira Shita taking on Ryo Mizunami, singles match for the AEW World Women's Championship. You know what? I know a lot of people had looked at this particular match and they said piss break. Was definitely happening a lot from what I was seeing on social media, definitely in the Discord. A lot of people decided they wanted to do what they needed to do during that matchup. And yeah, I feel where they're coming from. For me, I didn't quite think like that. I'm sure if I were to defend some of the people that said piss break or whatever, they don't really know these women. They don't particularly care about these women. And when you get right down to the heart of the matter, it's simply because they don't follow Japanese wrestling. So as a result of that, they don't care about these particular talents unless it involves a American talent that they are very familiar with, or it happens to be a Japanese talent that, oh yeah, they've been a household name almost, with WWE and Impact and, this promotion and that promotion. Yeah. I'm familiar with their work. Unless there's some type of established familiarity from over the years. It's like to ask a American fan to, here's these two girls that you probably don't know jack shit about, but they're going to entertain their asses off for you and you're going to dig them, check them out. Yeah, I don't blame that fan going, I'm going to go do something else. So, peace. If you did that, you actually missed out on a really, really good match. You really, really did. I was quite taken back. I looked at this match. I went into this match with very low expectations. By the way, I do see what everybody is saying in the chat. Only reason why I haven't acknowledged anything particularly in the chat is because everybody's still on the barbed wire thing. And trust me, I get it. I think that's going to be the one thing that's going to have us just rolling our heads off. We're going to be laughing our asses off for probably the rest of this month, just thinking about that fucking barbed wire shit at the end there. Particularly at the end. It's the end that kind of had us all wilding out there. But no, I am seeing what you guys are saying in the chat. It's just, if you mention something particularly that's linked to what I'm talking about, I'll do my best to kind of show you some love. But I love seeing you all interacting with each other there, just going back and forth on the barbed wire. Please keep going there. It's good shit. Love reading it. But yeah, no, for me, Shita and Ryo there, I went into this with very low expectations. And that wasn't a slap. That wasn't a slap to either of those women. I just went into this, just from the standpoint of, okay, well, you know what? I really haven't been sitting down to, really watch these two. I've missed out on some of the tournaments. Usually when Shita has a match on Dynamite, I'm usually doing something else and I catch the tail end of her match. So for me, this was kind of like one of those first real opportunities I've been able to sit down and really watch a Shita match. And this was actually my first time watching a Ryo Mizunami match because I did not see what she was doing in the tournament that wrapped up last week, wasn't it? Not this week that we just wrapped up, but I believe the week before is no. I think this past week is actually when it had wrapped up. So I didn't see anything what was going on with the tournament. But these girls that went about 15 minutes long. Now the only thing that I question, did we really have to give these girls 15 minutes? That's the only hiccup that I have. And I say that because that's really testing the patience of that fan. But then at the same time, this isn't an episode of Dynamite, right? You can make that argument if you want to be devil's advocate. You can say, this ain't Dynamite. This is a pay-per-view. You paid for this assuming, wink, wink, you did. You paid for this pay-per-view. So you pretty much know what these girls are about, and right? You would like to believe that. But no, these girls actually were pretty damn good. I gotta take my hats off to them. Very fucking entertaining. Made me, honestly, no bullshit, I became a huge fan tonight out of both of them. Out of both of them, I like both of these women a lot more than Riho, as Corny likes to call her. You know, the one that dresses in a little Sailor Moon outfit, and she looks like she's 12 years old or whatever, and you know she weighs 90 fucking pounds or 70 pounds, however the fuck much she weighs. I just, the one time I could actually stomach one of her matches and it seemed very believable and it was decently entertaining was what she did a few weeks back against Serena Deeb. I actually enjoyed that. That was like the first time I was able to, okay, because Serena Deeb is somebody I followed for a couple, off and on for a couple of decades now, way before she got into WWE Performance Center, you know, and all that. So, but no, these women, Shita and Mizunami, yeah, I'm a big fan of their shit now, just based off what I had saw them do tonight. And I think it's cool that AEW managed to acquire the services of Mizunami because she was on the verge of retiring. As you all know, the story that's been checking out Dynamite these past several weeks. And they pretty much were able to get her to, you know, hey, you know, won't you come on and, you know, do this with us for a hot minute here? And, you know, hey, afterwards, if you still want to go do your thing, that's cool. But come on over here. You know, we're building all these. I think it's great that they were able to tap into her services, because you think about the grander scheme of things for AEW and how they're trying to be that conduit to all things that's Japanese wrestling. You feel where I'm coming from? She is that great. Okay, we can tap into her, and it can just pretty much have that domino effect, because when it's all said and done, you know, this is a woman that has been added. My God, this is a woman that's been added what, since the mid 2000s that she's been at it, wrestling. No, early 2000s, not mid 2000s. No, she's been at it since like the early 2000s, if not. I want to say like somewhere between 2002, maybe like 2004. Mizunami has been at it. So this is a veteran in her own right, and she may not look like it, guys, but she's actually in her early 30s, believe it or not. She's nowhere near 35 just yet. She has a birthday coming up later this March, and she's going to turn 33. So, you know, don't think that, you know, who's this middle-aged looking, you know, no, she's still relatively young. So she still has a lot that she can give back to the business, is the point that I'm making. But you look at her connection to, you know, promotions like Pro Wrestling Wave and, my guy, JWP, Shandy Girls. That's another promotion too, you know. But you think how AEW has been trying to market themselves and everything. It's good. It's just good strategy, what they're doing and everything. Especially if they're able to essentially tap into her as a phenomenal talent and pretty much piggyback off of her to somehow acquire, you know, other talents, you know, word of mouth, things of that nature. It's a good domino effect when it's all said and done. But my hat's off to both of these women. They put on a really good match tonight. And again, Shita retaining her AEW Women's Championship. It looked as though, I gotta tell you, I was heavily invested. In this one because it was looking as though Mizunami was maybe gonna pull in the upset there. But she managed to do it. Now, post-match is where it got interesting. This follows up on what I just talked about a couple of minutes ago with Dr. Britt Baker and all of them, right? So you have this great sportsman-like conduct that's going on post-match and shit. And all of a sudden, wham, out of nowhere, Nyla Rose comes out and she just starts beating the shit out of both of these girls. You know, it's weird because you get the nice, cute looking Nyla Rose that's on Twitter and everything. And I don't know if she's putting air in her outfits or what, but like when you see Nyla Rose on social media, she's kind of small and everything. And then when you see her in the ring, well, maybe that just goes with the fact that, wow, I see Fresh is saying, say it with me, worst wrestling show of 2021. You're talking about the pay-per-view being the worst show of 2021? No, that was not the worst pay-per-view of 2021. If you feel that was the worst pay-per-view of 2021, I want you to do me a favor. You don't have to be long-winded with it, but give me 3 valid points to back up that claim. I think that's fair. Just three to make that point that you're making valid. This is the writer in me that's challenging you now. Ever since I have been taking my college courses in English, the way they have us now thinking when we read any kind of article or we hear any kind of argument that somebody is making, it's like, okay, we hear your main point. Now you got to support that main point. So what is your examples to validate that main point that you're making? See, if you can't come up with 3 valid points, we're just going to look at you as trolling and we're just going to ignore you for the rest of the show. But anyway, they came out, beat the holy shit out of both of those girls. Vicky Guerrero was out there as well. She was getting in a little bit of her kicking, a little bit of her stomping in there as well. And Thunder Rosa actually came out. Now, this is where it got a little bit funny here, because while Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero are beating the shit out of Mizunami and Shita, Britt Baker and Reba, they also come out there as well. All right, so think about that for a second. You got Reba, you got Vicky Guerrero, you got Nyla Rose, right? You got fucking God, I'm drawing a blank there. Let's try that again. You got Britt Baker, Rebel. I call her Reba, but we'll say Rebel. You got Rebel. You got Vicky Guerrero. You got Nyla Rose. All right, so essentially you got 4 girls right there. All right, so they're beating the crap out of fucking Maki and who's the other one? Not Maki, I'm sorry. Out of Mizunami and Shita. God, like all these names, like hard to fucking keep up with them. And then you have fucking Thunder Rosa that just comes out there and all of them part the Red fucking Sea. Like, wait a minute, it's only one fucking Thunder Rosa. It's not like it's 2 motherfuckers that's out there. It's not 2. What the fuck is going on? Like, just beat the shit out of her. She's just one Thunder Rosa. But no, just to see everybody just fucking run their ass away from Thunder Rosa was fucking hilarious. I loved it. I loved it. Fucking loved it. All right, I'm poking my head back in the chat because I had put Fresh on the spot, and Fresh did not validate what he had to say. So you know what? He just wanted to pop into the chat there and just troll. So we'll just get rid of him. And we'll just remove his comment because he's just trolling. I can't stand people that troll. Sorry, but if you couldn't come up with 3 valid points and you couldn't, come on. You kind of know who watches the pay-per-view and who doesn't. You know, you're gonna have those that just want to say a little something just to be saying a little something so they can get acknowledged and shit. And then you're actually going to have those that are actually going to validate, the point that they're making about a pay-per-view and everything. So, but to say that this was the worst pay-per-view of 2021, first off, and I'm not saying this to, make this particular guy feel embarrassed or anything, but first off, we're in March. It's still the beginning of March. And we're going to say, this was the worst of 2021. It's like, it's only March, right? We got a long way to go. For all we know, something might be coming up later this month in March from another promotion, and that might be this is the worst show of 2021. And then you go into April, this is the worst show in 2021. And it's like, we got to be careful how we throw that around. Seriously, we got to be careful how we throw that around. By the way, I do see what you guys are saying about AEW's Revolution pay-per-view on the poll we have on YouTube so far. Interesting. Very interesting. If you not voted yet, head over there right now, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the community tab and vote that way. You got nice little options there for those of you that want to vote. By the way, if you're enjoying the post show so far, please go out of your way and smash that like, hit that heart, share. But make sure you like. You don't have to subscribe. Just the fact that you go out of your way, you check out the show, that's good enough for me. But definitely hit that like button, especially you guys over on the YouTube platform, because that lets the YouTube algorithm guides know you're having a good time, you enjoy the show, helps them out as far as recommendations. Do that. Thank you very much in advance. Let me read to you guys what I'm looking at so far for the YouTube results, although it's kind of early. I'm seeing a tie at 14%, as 14% said, that Sting match, though. And another 14% are saying, that exploding barbed wire match, though. And an overwhelming 71% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. If you missed the Twitter poll, meanwhile, over on Twitter, I'm seeing that there is 25% of you that gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 75% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. So, not too shabby, not too shabby. All right, let's continue on. Let's go. We only got a couple more matches left. And how are we doing on Showtime so far? We are doing good. We're only about an hour into the show, and we only got a couple more matches to talk about. So, let's go there. Up next, we've got our... Is it our moment of the night? No, not yet. It's not our moment of the night just yet. Post-match, backstage area. Backstage area, Marvez is getting in an interview with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. But before Marvez can even finish asking his question, Miro just comes from out of nowhere and is attacking the shit out of the best friends. I mean, he is just having a field day with these guys. He slams Orange Cassidy into some box, and Miro sends Chuck into a glass window of a door, and he says, hey, play my damn music. I want my music played. So they actually played his music and all that. Miro drags out Chuck onto the stage. Chuck is bleeding profusely. And Miro just starts beating the holy shit out of him, beats him all the way into the ring. He then grabs a mic, tells Chuck he's given him so many opportunities to get out of this, but Chuck has said no. He's like, look, just say the words now and I'll make it stop. And Chuck says, okay, I want to say something. And Miro stands above him with the mic, and Chuck is just giggling, and he tells the ref to ring the damn bell. So we got our official start to the fourth match, Miro and Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. This match went about maybe 7 minutes, give or take. Team of Miro, Kip Sabian picking up the dub. What I enjoyed most about this particular match was the fact that we had saw the old Rusev that we pretty much fell in love with back in WWE. What I mean by that is we saw that guy that just had that killer mentality, that just had that I'm gonna fuck everything up in my fucking path. I'm gonna just destroy the hell out of anyone and everybody, right? That was the Miro that we had got tonight, and it was one of those, it was one of those moments where you stepped back and you said, man, why couldn't this essentially be the Miro that we got coming to AEW from the get-go? No, we got this blonde haired. What the fuck is he wearing? I mean, it was just really, really. It was like he was having some type of an identity crisis there or something. It was really, really weird what was going on with him. But I love this. I love this. Right down to the point. There was a cool ass spot that went down towards the final moments of the matchup where I remember Kip Sabian was at ringside, and let me think about that. Let me think about that now. Let me think. Was it Kip Sabian? No, I'm gonna take Kip Sabian now for a hot second. I'm gonna take him out for a hot second. But there was a spot where Penelope Ford was standing on the ropes, and she was trying to cause a little bit of a distraction. And something weird happened where I think it might have been Cassidy that was the legal man or whatnot. And it actually may have involved Kip Sabian now that I'm kind of thinking about it. My mind's a little bit fuzzy right now. But all I remember was there was a nasty spot that went down where Penelope Ford took a bump. From that point, you had Kip Sabian that went outside, was trying to check up on her and everything. So Miro was pretty much left fighting a good fight by himself and everything. And he was doing pretty good. He was holding his own. But then eventually he comes outside of the ring. He grabs Kip Sabian, and it was just almost kind of like, fuck your woman. You know, like, you can do it later if you want, but for now, you know, forget about her. Like, I need you. And I just loved how he just rolled Kip Sabian in the ring and everything. It's like, you know, forget about her. Like, we'll get to her later. You know, and he just had, Miro, that is, had this killer fucking mentality of like, you know, I'm tired of this shit. You know, I'm tired of these guys making me essentially the butt end of their joke. This shit ends tonight. It was a good, strong, dominating performance by Miro. You know, this was essentially badass Miro, you know, back to basics Miro. I loved it. I fucking loved it. Tap that motherfucker out too. Tap that motherfucker out. Loved it. Fucking loved it. Good match. Good match. See, anything else I want to say about that match? Wish it would have went a little longer, if anything. I wish it would have went a little bit longer. But other than that, it was pretty good. All right, one of my favorite matches of the entire night. If I got to give you a particular order, I would definitely say Matt Hardy versus Hangman Adam Page. That would be my number one. My number two would actually be the barbed wire death match. And my number three would be the street fight that went down with Sting, Darby Allin, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, which I'll get to in a hot second. But that's the order I'd give it to you guys. Matt Hardy, Hangman Page. Good shit. Good shit right here. Good shit. Love the overall psychology of this match. By the way, these boys, they went at it for about 15 minutes. This was your big money match. Remember, winner receives the losers 2021 first quarter earnings. Just the first quarter earnings. We can't go any more extreme than just doing the first quarter earnings. All right. No problem, right? No problem. That's all right, yeah? But no, this one was actually pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. I could have watched these two men go at it all fucking night. All fucking night long. I could have watched these guys go at it. Closing moments of this one. Cassidy from Private Party. You just knew Private Party was going to try to get involved. They took turns trying to distract the referee and everything. Hangman was able to hold him off for as long as he could. But you had this one key moment where Cassidy gets up on the apron, tries to distract the ref. Quinn gets up on the other side. Paige heads over to Cassidy, takes him out. Then goes over to Quinn, takes him out. Then there was this sweet ass spot where he does a dive. I think he did a dive in between the ropes on both guys. But then when it came time for him to get back in the ring, he basically jumps up on the apron from the outside, does that trademark flip into the ring, and then charges with that clothesline and everything. And it was cool because somebody in the Discord, they had said, wow, That's actually his finisher? I say, yeah, it's pretty badass, ain't it? And I don't know if he legit, wait, that's his finisher, or if he was trying to, it's like, I don't think he was taking a knock. I think he was just legitimately asking if that was his finisher. Because I think he was just kind of taken back that, wow, this guy did that? Like, tell me that's his finisher. And I totally would understand that, because if that was not his finisher, then you're kind of wondering, okay, well, as flashy and cool as that was, well, what the hell is his finisher? But this was a really cool sequence, because when Hangman Page does that fucking flip into the ring and comes for that fucking closing clothesline there, you know, doing that JBL clothesline, so to speak, it was a beautiful transitional sequence. It was smooth like freaking butter, because he goes for it, Matt Hardy intercepts, and pretty much turns it into a sweet side effect. Tried to go in for the cover. That pretty much only had got him a near fall, and the match had pretty much continued. Actually, you know what? The transition, I'm missing an important move in that. Not only was there a side effect, there was also a twist of fate. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, wait a minute. And that sequence, Hangman Page did his trademark flipping over the top rope clothesline, and it went into a side effect and a twist of fate all in one, pretty much one transition, so to speak. Yeah, it pretty much somehow ended like that in one transition. You just would have had to seen it, but don't take my word for it. Those that saw the pay-per-view, they'll let you know. Yeah, it actually went down like that. Near fall, match pretty much continued on. At that point, frustrated Matt Hardy, wondering, the hell I gotta do here? Like, that should have been it. I don't put all my best shit out there. Now what the fuck do I do? So he was actually calling for a private party to help out and interfere. But then you had members of the Dark Order that came out, and they managed to stop those guys. That was actually a nice little sweet spot too, because something had happened where Matt Hardy tried to send Page outside the ropes, and he thought he was good and he was showboating and everything, but Page actually did not crash onto the canvas. Dark Order team members actually caught him midair, put him back on top of the apron outside the ring. Once again, does that sweet ass flip inside the ring. Boom, second go around, connects with that JBL clothesline, gets the 1, 2, 3. Boom, Matt Hardy loses to Hangman Adam Page. Dark Order, Hangman Page celebrating in the ring afterwards with some beer. Adam Page can finally go to Walmart, and he can finally get that pimp me out deer hunting gear he's been looking at for a good minute now. But yeah. All right. Oh man, that was a good match though. I enjoyed that one like fucking silly. That one was really fucking good. Now I think after this next matchup is when we had our moment of the night. Let me just look here. Give me a second here. I think, hang on. I'm looking at my notes here. I'm trying to see when that moment came. I think it actually came, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it actually came after match 6, Face of the Revolution ladder match. I'm almost certain it happened after that. I'm just looking in my notes that I took during the pay-per-view here. Bear with me a quick second and I can actually tell you if it went down. Yeah, my memory's coming back. So it was actually after match 6, Face of the Revolution ladder match. Max Caster taking on Lance Archer, Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta, El Zoro Miedo, and wait for it, Ethan Page, Impact Wrestling's Ethan Page. As we all know, Ethan Page had a very sad tenure. You talk about a bad way for things to end with him in Impact Wrestling. It's kind of sad that it ended on such a sour note and everything. But you guys that have been checking out Impact Showdown weekly, you guys know how I've been documenting the hell out of Ethan Page and everything, and you know, it's kind of fucked up how things had went down with him over there with the whole Karate Man gimmick and everything. Look, I think this is a great acquisition for those of you that, you know, maybe have not been watching Impact Wrestling past couple of years. You're not even really sure about, you know, who the hell is this Ethan Page? This Ethan Page, dude, this is definitely somebody you want to be paying very close attention to. Hell of an in-ring talent. Definitely very good. Good as a singles competitor. Extremely good as as part of a tag team. Extremely good. What he was doing in the North over in Impact Wrestling, loved it. I mean, they had some top ass quality matches over there. So the fact that AEW was able to tap into him and everything, get him on over there, it's a great fucking addition. You know, my whole thing is, where exactly do you go with Ethan Page? Because after I just talked about what all had went down earlier in the night with that one tag team match, and how, man, this tag team is so freaking stacked, do you really go in the direction of Ethan Page eventually teaming up with somebody? Is that the route that you go? Or do you maybe just have him float around there as a singles competitor? That's where it gets a little bit tricky there. But, you know, maybe to be continued. My wishful thinking, I hope they put him in a position where he just remains a singles competitor. I think that would be good. Me, as far as my picks go, I didn't even consider whoever the mystery person was in this. I never even thought they would win. For me, just looking at the names, I really homed in on Lance Archer. I just felt, you know what? Momentum is on this guy's side this go round. Sure, what the hell? It's got to be Lance Archer. But if you would have told me Scorpio Sky would be the one to come out of here with the W, I would have said to you, Scorpio Sky? Okay, well, let me think about that for a little bit. Yeah, I'll take it, sure. Not what I expected. I would have expected Archer, but okay, that's a pleasant surprise, sure. I'll go ahead and I'll fucking take that. Once again, Cody Rhodes in this match, trying to make everybody look like a million fucking dollars here, man. By the way, I love how the way they had this ladder match set up, it was basically, and figuratively and realistically speaking, reach up for the brass ring and take it. It was literally that kind of match. There was a brass ring just dangling from this fucking ceiling. And I mean, you guys just would have had to been in the Discord, but there was a whole lot of shit talking going on. It was funny. We all were just more entertained with the fact that there was a big ass gold ring dangling from the fucking ceiling than anything else in the match. We're going in with Sonic references, Sonic the Hedgehog references. I personally went in with the fucking creature from Lord of the Rings. Give me back my precious! Yeah, I'm going that route. Looking at that fucking ring, I was just thinking about onion rings. You know, like all of a sudden, we had like weird trends going on every single time they showed us a nice little close-up shot of that fucking ring just dangling from the fucking ceiling and shit. But it was fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious, man. But Scorpio Sky getting it, you know, I'm okay with that. But again, you know, Cody is like Frank's Red Hot Sauce. You know, put that shit on everything. Makes everything taste good. You know, he is like that special seasoned salt or that Sweet Baby Ray's. Like, you missing something? Just add a little Cody. Cody will make that shit real fucking good. I did not predict that Scorpio Sky. I didn't see this. I did not see this at all. It was a pleasant surprise. Because it just kind of felt to me, the way things have been building up over the course of the past couple of weeks, it felt as though Lance Archer was going to be the one that probably was going to be coming out of this. I mean, if I really had to look at these names again and just, okay, let's say not Lance Archer. Who you going with? I probably would have went with Penta El Zero. Probably would have went with him then. But the fact that it's Scorpio Sky, I'm totally fucking okay with that. Seriously, I totally am okay with that. What I've seen of him over the course of the past several months now, I felt that in due time, Scorpio Sky would become a big main event player, especially in the right storyline, given the right opportunity and everything. I felt as though, yeah, this guy, he can definitely become a long-term impact player, and I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do. Now, look, you're asking me straight up, because eventually he's going to have to face Darby Allin for the championship. And I'm sure that's going to be a riveting, entertaining matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing both men tear it up in that fucking joint. I'm looking forward to it. But, man, I just don't know, guys. I don't know if Scorpio Sky's first go round against Darby for the title, I just don't know if he's going to be successful in that clash. I'm just not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I would love it. Me personally, I would love it. I personally would love it. But we'll see what happens with that. But that was a good matchup, though. That was a good matchup. As far as good matchup, I'm thinking about those two guys when they get ready to lock it up. The ladder match itself, boys went at it for about, I would say maybe about 24 minutes. I love reading you guys' comments. You guys are still talking about the barbed wire match. I love just seeing you guys just drop in and just talk about the barbed wire match. And again, for those of you that are just tuning in live and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to hear Lee talk about the barbed wire. We talked about the barbed wire off the break for about 25 minutes to kick off the show. So I don't know about the other platforms, but YouTube has a live rewind feature. So you can actually rewind to the beginning. You can hear my funny thoughts. I actually came on the air laughing. I'm not going to edit that out either. That'd be hard for me to edit. We're just going to leave that shit as it is. But yeah, it was a nice little opener there talking about the barbed wire matchup. Let me see. Any other thoughts I have about this particular matchup, though? None really. Just I like that Scorpio Sky is getting his time in the spotlight here. And I love how they're continuing to build up Lance Archer as this big megastar. But I do see something special in Scorpio Sky. Definitely. I do see something very special in him. I would really be shocked if by the end of 2022, he was not a AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And I'm not just saying that because we just saw what happened with Bobby Lashley. And, Scorpio Sky has done a phenomenal job in just transformation of his body, over these past couple of years. And just this reignited fire, this desire. I mean, you can see it. You can see it. You can feel it. So, yeah, I would be shocked if by the end of 2022, December 31st, 2022, if Scorpio Sky was not a AEW World Heavyweight Champion just yet. I'd be very shocked. No, my friend, don't Big Daddy, don't be Big Daddy cool. Don't be apologizing because, never apologize. We're just letting you know, where we are in the show right now. You're good. You're totally good. Let's see. Let's keep rocking and rolling. So it was after this moment that we finally got to see who was the new addition to the AEW roster. Remember what Big Show had said and everything, that this was a man whose career is Hall of Fame worthy, meaning this person was not in a Hall of Fame just yet, but their career so far was Hall of Fame worthy. And it was nice seeing so many people jump out there with all kinds of different names. I saw one person jump out there with Undertaker, and I pretty much shot that down. You would have had to go back to the last show that we did, which I believe was Wednesday night that we did a show. And I said to you guys, no, If you watch the 5-part Last Ride documentary, you know that as far as Undertaker, AEW, there's a fun story with regards to AEW too, but you pretty much learn through that Undertaker signed a new deal with WWE. And I touched on some other points. So if you had missed Wednesday's show, go back and check it out if you get done with this one. Another name that was brought up was what was another name that I had kind of said, nah, I don't see that happening. I'm trying to remember what the other name was, but I know Undertaker was a name. Goldberg. Goldberg was another one. And I said, no, guys, he's locked up for at least another couple of years. His contract isn't set for expiration until at the earliest, maybe 2024. It's like, so WWE's got him for a good minute there. And it's like, okay, what else you got? I heard CM Punk. I really wasn't buying CM Punk. Remember what I told you guys? I said, just enjoy the moment. Don't build yourself up so fucking high that when it comes time, it's a major fucking letdown. Just enjoy the moment, relish in the moment, take it in. Don't try to guess and everything. But I remember seeing people say CM Punk. Brock Lesnar was another one that I had saw. That one I just really wasn't sure about, especially given the fact that WWE has had some pretty good quarter earning reports. They just struck this deal with NBC for Peacock, taking the WWE network to Peacock and everything. And no Big Daddy Cool. Undertaker, as far as I know, does not have a 20-year contract with the WWE. There is no information right now on the new contract that Undertaker has signed. What I will say, and I can't stress this enough, anybody that did not watch the Undertaker 5-episode series Last Ride, on one of the episodes, Undertaker talks at great length about that StarCast appearance that he was supposed to do for WWE. And at that point, he was a free agent. He was not under contract. And when he tried to do the StarCast thing, Vince McMahon got wind of it. They were pretty sour. They did not speak for, like several months or whatever. When cooler heads had prevailed, Vince McMahon would reach back out to Taker and say to him, okay, you know what? I want to get you in. Let's see what we can do to ink out a new deal with you and everything. And they pretty much had went from there. So last I heard about Taker, I'm basically reiterating what I had said on the Wednesday show, but I'm giving you the bullet points. But again, if y'all didn't check out Wednesday show, you really should go back and check out Wednesday show, because a lot of the questions that you guys are asking or are probably thinking, 9 times out of 10, I did tackle it on the Wednesday show. But the way things are standing right now with Taker and WWE, Triple H has said that there is a offer for Taker to come down to the Performance Center and be a coach. And that Taker is very interested in the position. And it's just a matter of when Taker pretty much starts coming to the Performance Center. In the meantime, per Triple H, this well known in I can't remember the interview. If I can figure it out by Monday, I'll let you guys know about the interview so you can hear it for yourselves. But Triple H had said that for now, Undertaker is, as he should. He's enjoying his retirement. He's enjoying no longer being a wrestler, being a dad, being a husband. He's enjoying himself right now. And when he's ready, then he and Triple H will have that talk, and they'll pretty much go from there. But nobody knows how long that contract is supposed to be for. It wasn't even tackled during the Last Ride. So, but people thought Brock Lesnar. And again, I wasn't thinking Brock Lesnar because the past 2 earning reports from WWE, what they just did, taking the network to Peacock, it's like, you're like, nah, I don't really think that they'd be able to. No, Lesnar, no. the ones that seem kind of feasible to me, Kurt Angle. And look, if you were like me and you saw the little videos that Kurt Angle had put out there going into the weekend, you know that one video I'm talking about, you're going, shit. Could it be? Could it be Kurt Angle in AEW? Could it be? So, like, I wouldn't blame anybody that was maybe looking at that. A lot of people were thinking Ryback, but no shade to Ryback. But when you think about the career of Ryback, look, there wasn't enough substance that would even warrant Hall of Fame worthy career. Yeah, he doesn't fall into those parameters. So you just had to, take him off the list. I dismiss CM Punk just for the fact of, if they couldn't, AEW that is, if they couldn't get him by now, why all of a sudden they're going to get him this go round? So for me, that was just, so my thoughts were Kurt Angle, Mark Henry, and I explained why I thought Mark Henry on Wednesday's show. I think there might have been one other name I homed in on. I sadly can't remember who the other name was. But the newest addition to AEW, it's none other than, a little drum roll, none other than Christian, Captain Charisma himself, Christian Cage. And, mixed feelings about Christian in AEW now. Very, very mixed emotions. Positive and melancholy. And let me explain to you the reason why. And this is real talk. And I don't have to be long-winded about this, but because you guys are an older bunch, so you guys will get where I'm coming from. But, for me, all right, he's 47 years of age now? For me, it just rubbed me the wrong way, seeing how his career just kind of came to a premature end in the WWE. Here's a man that was denied opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to do the one thing that he loves doing the most, which is being in the ring and performing. And he was denied that by this particular company in WWE for so many years. Meanwhile, he watches Daniel Bryan come back from essentially life-threatening injury, just concussions after and other shit, and just Daniel Bryan was able to come back after a few years. He watched his best friend, his brother from another mother, essentially, in Edge, come back. There's a guy that we thought, oh yeah, he's definitely done. This guy comes back. Nice, good feel moments here. And then the guys that didn't go out on injury, but just were able to come back after so many years and, have a couple of matches here and there. Batista. The Rock. Watching Undertaker, watching Kane, I'm sure that just got to him, and I'm sure that it ate him up inside. Nothing is more than seeing, all your friends play ball. You feel good. You've passed whatever tests that have been asked of you to take. You've passed them with flying colors. You're good to go. You can put on your jersey. You can go out there and play. But the coaches and the team, they're pretty, upper management team, they're pretty much saying, no, you can't play. And that's essentially what WWE did to this guy for so many years. When was the last actual match Christian had in the ring? The actual last match. I don't want you guys thinking about, the unsanctioned match that he had with Randy Orton. I don't really count that. I don't really count that. The one that you do count? Go back to March 24th, 2014. That's how far back you got to go with Christian. That was the actual legit match, last match that he had. That was an Intercontinental title, #1 contendership fatal 4-way. he was taking on Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus. That was the last time he did something in the ring. And so think about that. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. You lost pretty much damn near over 7 years. Over 7 years. Yeah, you were able to do some nice little stuff here and there for the WWE network, and you're doing things that's kind of associated with WWE, and you kind of got your little Legends deal there for a hot moment and all that. But when it's all said and done and it comes to doing what you love doing the most, you're constantly being denied. And for me, and it was funny too, because I actually was watching this particular moment with my girl, and she said, holy shit, he's in AEW now? I said, apparently. We saw him sign the contract. There was that last little part of me that was thinking, maybe there's a swerve here coming. Maybe it's going to be somebody else that's going to come out, beat the shit out of Christian, and sign that contract. But, Christian, we ain't seen the last of him. Maybe we'll see him a couple of weeks down the road or something. I was prepared for something there. I was prepared for whoever comes out, that's the real person, because there was a part of me, again, thinking, Christian's it's not him, it's somebody else. But it would be a great setup for Christian to be feuding with that person after a few weeks or whatever. But no, it was Christian that signed it. So there's that part of me seeing what WWE and how they were handling him. I'm sure whatever test was asked, he was doing it and then some. He passed them all with flying colors, and he just kept getting denied. So there's a part of me that's actually happy that Christian was able to embark on this new path over to AEW. At the same time, it should not have gotten to this point. And WWE, I just can't help but shake my head and say, what the fuck, WWE? And the one thing that just really kind of, is, all right, man, all the stroke that Edge probably has, and you trying to tell me Edge wasn't able to do anything? Edge wasn't able to make the old man give Captain Charisma another shot there? You saw the dedication that Christian had put into his body just to get into the Rumble and everything. I mean, he showed up in tip-notch quality shape. And that wasn't enough. That was not enough for these guys to. So, but it shouldn't have resorted to this. That, okay, well, if WWE isn't going to give me the opportunity, well, I'll just go to the rival growing company that's definitely going place. I'll just go to them, and shouldn't have even came to that. The thought of AEW shouldn't have even been on Christian's mind, because WWE should have been able to find something, and maybe to their credit, maybe they tried to implant him in other areas, but it was, nah, man, you know what? Those are all good. Maybe officially when I'm done from being in the ring, but I want to still be in the ring. I can still go, blah this, blah that. All I have to say is, if WWE is going to act that particular way towards Christian, but we can pretty much turn the other cheek on guys like Edge, Daniel Bryan, all I got to say to that is, okay, you know what? Then no matter what, I don't care how many tests Paige is able to go through, there's no reason why she should be given a green light to wrestle. If you think about that for a second, it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to keep denying Edge, if you're going to keep denying Christian, no matter what, then why would you ever entertain the idea of giving the green light to Paige? And as okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Look, I've called some things pretty accurate in my timeline before, all the years I've been on the air. I just have this weird feeling that we will see Paige in the ring again, performing on a regular basis. And remember what I'm saying here on this night. And one of the first things I'm going to say is, Christian, it's one of the first things I'm going to say. It just shouldn't have resorted to it. So I'm feeling, again, I'm happy, but I feel a little melancholy right now because it's like it shouldn't have came to that point. You feel where I'm coming from? It's like you want to keep playing for this one team. Physically you can go and everything, but you keep getting denied over and over and over again. I'm curious how they're going to do Samoa Joe. We see Samoa Joe's been making the news, and he's been very vocal about, we're taking it one day at a time. We're just trying to see, how things are. But yeah, you're going to see me in the ring. I'm not done yet. And it's like, yeah, we hear that, but we ain't see you yet. So you can't help but wonder if he's now in that Christian-like territory. But it's a great acquisition for AEW. This is a man that's a little bit younger. And definitely as far as the in-ring general goes, this is definitely somebody that is going to be able to pass on a good wealth of knowledge to that young roster that they have. Definitely can be looked upon as a morale booster and everything. Look, this isn't, not for nothing, this isn't the first time that Christian Cage has gone to another promotion. Come on, let's remember what he did in Impact Wrestling. And when he was in Impact, he, no pun intended, but he really did make an impact behind the scenes and everything. Don't think for 1 second that Christian Cage is coming to AEW just to collect a paycheck. This is pretty much the same Christian Cage that we saw in Impact Wrestling. For those of us that remember, he was there 100%. He was all in on Impact Wrestling. And I feel that this go round with AEW, trust me, he's going to be 100% all in. So I can't wait to see this guy lock up, off the break. Me personally, off the break, I can't wait to see him. What an interesting pairing. If he were to ever go the heel route, what an interesting pairing he and MJF would be. I think that would just be very, very entertaining. From a babyface standpoint, I'd love to see him eventually feud with Kenny Omega. Very curious to see how those two styles would fucking clash. I definitely would love to see him lock it up at some point, whether it's as a face or a heel. I'd love to see him lock it up with Dustin. Thinking about some of the younger cats that's on the roster, I'd love to see him mingle with Ricky Starks. Lance Archer would be interesting, I think. There's a whole lot of endless combinations you could do with him in there. Lot of interesting combinations. But yeah, it's a good grab. It's a good grab that they got. So I can't wait to see what they're able to do with that. I think at this point we only got one more match. Let's look here. I think we only got one more match. So I hope you guys enjoyed that talk of Christian for all it's worth there. And when you really stop and think about Christian's career, by the way, it is a Hall of Fame worthy career. When you really stop and think about it. It really is, because Khan and them, they were not misleading in any type of way. So look, if you all allowed yourselves to get so overhyped and you just homed in on the without really doing your research on some of the guys, if you overhyped yourself on the Undertakers, the Goldbergs, the Kurt Angles, you feel what I'm saying? Then it's kind of like, yeah, you might feel a little bit let down. But in this particular case, Khan did not disappoint, because when you look up this guy's career, not for nothing. Let me just run down this list real quick for those that's like a little bit on Christian. Let me just put some respect on this guy's name. Match of the year 2000, Match of the Year 2001 by PWI. Ranked number 7 in the top 500 wrestlers for PWI 500 in 2007. Ranked number 454 on the top 500 greatest wrestlers in PWI years in 2003. Two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Gauntlet for the Gold 2008 TNA World Heavyweight Champion. TNA Year-End Award 2-time winner. ECW Champion 2 times. 2-time World Heavyweight Champion. 1-time WWF European Champion. 1-time WWF Hardcore Champion. 1-time WWF Light Heavyweight Champion. WWF/E Intercontinental Champion 4 times. 9 times he was a WWF/E Tag Team Champion. 23rd Triple Crown Champion. 11th Grand Slam Champion. That's a decorated career, man. That is definitely a Hall of Fame worthy career. Without a shadow of doubt. Without a fucking shadow of doubt. So, yeah. I love that you guys are still talking barbed wire explosion matches. You guys are funny. I'm talking about Christian, and we're pretty much near the end of the show, and you guys are talking about barbed. I love you guys. I love it. I'm glad that barbed wire match had that fucking profound impact on you guys. Seriously, I love it. All right, we got one more match. Let's go, man. This is pretty much it. Street fight, Sting, Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks, Brian Cage. Now, this was funny because I walked away and I was actually doing some laundry, and when I come back, I'm going, what the fuck happened to the pay-per-view? And I actually was getting ready to change the channel looking for the pay-per-view, and then I see what I thought was Sting, and I go, wait a minute. And that's when I watched for like a couple of minutes. I'm like, oh, it's a cinematic little fight. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know what? I love the way this was shot. Sincerely, I do. I love the way this fight was shot. You know, I love the fact that we really got away from the whole, okay, you know, if this is supposed to be a street fight, then, you know, why are we just going to do this shit around the ring or whatever? You know, if anything, maybe we should just rent some empty warehouse and we could have a ring be, you know, somewhere in this empty warehouse or whatever, or this abandoned building, and, you know, we can just pretty much have our guys fight all. I love that whole concept. I love that. What these guys did was fucking awesome. You know, look, you gotta make up for the fact that we're still in a pandemic. But remember, most likely they did all this in Florida. And in Florida, we may not like what's going on out there, but it's Bizarro World. They probably could have gotten away doing a real street fight on the streets of Florida, and people would have been okay with it. But then you gotta just think from a visual standpoint for the fans that's watching that's not in Florida, seeing the people without their masks cheering and all that other shit. You know, that probably would have gotten AEW a little bit of flack online, maybe with some podcasters. Do you really want to cross that territory? I don't really think so. So the way that they went about this was actually cool. You know, I kind of felt like I had walked on the set of a movie, basically. And it's like, yeah, no shit, that's why it's a cinematic. No, but it felt very dingy. I kind of felt like it was some type of a combination between a cool kick-ass Stone Temple Pilots music video, you know, meet some type of I can't really describe it, but it was badass. I loved it. I love the way that they fucking shot this. It made a lot of sense, the way that they shot it. It came off like a legit fight. That was the one cool thing that I enjoyed. It came off like a legit fight. I was very curious how Sting was going to be going into this fight. And I thought the way that they did Sting, I thought honestly they did a very good job. However this match was booked, I thought they did an exceptionally good job protecting Sting. Because remember, that's the one main thing I highlighted and pretty much all of those in the podcasting, where I definitely had heard a good number of my colleagues say the same thing, which is let's wait and see how they do Sting in this match, how protected he's going to be in this match. And he was protected very well in this match. You did not see him do no crazy ass WWE shit. I don't mean just the Seth Rollins power. I'm not talking about that. Just, okay, are we going to get a full Sting's just all in 100% wrestling? Is that what we're No, the way that this was done, as far as real physical aspects, okay, you really need to take this ass whooping here. Oh, that's a rough looking spot. You think he's going to be okay? Darby Allin was the one that was pretty much the crash test dummy in this matchup. And what they did with Sting, very protective, very protective. Probably the worst devastating thing you saw that happened with Sting. It's a couple of times he gets whacked over the head and over the back with a shovel. And we already know what was going on with that prop essentially, right? So it was good. It was good how Sting was protected. Of course, I can't help but look further down the road. Well, look, obviously, we're not going to do every single Sting match like this. At some point, we're going to get him in the ring, and, that's where the real story is going to be told, from a physical standpoint, just, how is this guy and everything. But we can worry about that different time, different day and everything. I love that one scene where I think it was Hobbs and Cage. One of those guys on Team Taz, they pretty much were doing Darby Allin like a fucking piece of Laffy Taffy, and they were just stretching him back and forth, and then they just sent him crashing into this freaking window. It's like, oh, somebody left a spare window. It's like, it wasn't put up on the empty space over here. And he just went crashing through that. That was pretty badass. Then they're beating the holy shit out of Sting. Sting's like, wait a minute, this is too much for me. He's trying to gingerly go down the stairs while they're giving way. I love seeing all of that. And then eventually Darby Allin comes to. He sees what's about to happen to his boy, and he just kind of tosses him that bat like it's fucking Thor's hammer. He's like, Sting! Gives him the bat. It's like, wow, and he just happens to catch it. He just happens to catch the fucking bat and just starts going to town on all those guys. I loved it. I fucking loved it. I also love the fact that the one time when it counted the most, and you really needed to tell that visual story, I love the fact that this bat broke over Brian Cage's back. I love that. Because you're like, okay, at some point that bat's gonna break. So are we gonna break it now? Or how exactly is that bat gonna break? Is it gonna be a test of strength type of deal? What's gonna happen right here? And I just love the fact that with all his might, in this case, with all his might, Sting just pretty much wham! Fucking put a hurting on that man, Brian Cage. I love that fucking shit. And then the sweet ass spot with Darby Allin from, what was that, like 2 stories up or whatever? He just does this fucking elbow body splash drop. I don't even remember who the fuck it was that was laying on the debris there, but I don't know if that was, no, it wasn't Ricky Starks. I actually think that might have been, possibly Cage and or Hobbs. Kind of weird because I remember seeing Hobbs. I remember seeing Taz's son. But then after a while, they just magically disappeared. It was so weird. They just all magically disappeared. I don't know if Darby took them out when he did that dive. And that's pretty much how they all disappeared. I don't know what the fuck happened there. But action eventually goes back into the ring. Yes, there actually was a ring in this abandoned warehouse, not the ring that was actually at Darby. What is it? I can't remember the name of the actual venue. that AEW emanates from every single week. But it wasn't that actual ring. This was the on location one with the warehouse and all that. Ricky Stark, Sting going at it for a hot minute. That was actually kind of cool. I actually love seeing Sting and Darby Allin going at it there. I was kind of getting goosebumps because I'm going, okay, what are we gonna see here? Like seriously, like now we're gonna get to see a little bit of wrestling moves here. So what exactly are we gonna get from both of these guys here? Ricky hitting with a back elbow, Sting going in for the splash. I like when he goes for the splash and Starks moves out the way. He actually exposes a piece of the turnbuckle and like Sting hits metal. You're like, ooh, bad Snake Eyes there. He tries to go in, spears the shit out of Sting, goes for the cover. That's only a near fall. Ricky comes in with a couple of punches. Sting comes right back. Low blow. Sets up Stark for... or actually, Stark set up Sting for a power bomb, but Sting managed to fight his way out of it and get a roll up. No! Near fall. Applies the Scorpion Death Drop. Goes in for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Good fucking joint. I looked at this match overall, and one of the first things that came into my mind is, you know what, AEW? Mad respect. Because you recognize the great talent, the legendary talent that you have in the icon Sting. Kudos to you for giving Sting his first dub in a new promotion. Unlike some companies where, I think the way we need to do this, I need to get you right here. Don't worry. We'll give it to you somewhere down the road. You'll get it right back. And you know what? Look, kudos to Triple H. I love the fact that now, I'll say this much about Triple H. I don't know if it's the girls that he has in his life, in his family, that's, made him become a little more softer with respect to how he views certain things and everything. But it's nice hearing Triple H say, hey, you know what? Should Sting maybe have gone over, first match in WWE, big stage of them all, WrestleMania? Should he have maybe, most likely. And I'll give him that. He says, we were just kind of looking at what we thought was right for business at the time. But yeah, you know what, in retrospect, we probably shouldn't. I'll give him that. I'll definitely give him that. But I couldn't help but think about that when I looked at this match. And I also couldn't help but think about the way they had approached telling the story for this street fight and everything. There wasn't too much emphasis on the whole cinematic experience. You guys feel where I'm coming from? Whereas compared to what WWE typically does, WWE could learn a few things here from what AEW did tonight with this matchup. And I sincerely mean that. I got to be very complimentary in how this match, not only how it was booked, but just how it was shot to give you that realism while at the same time not trying to make you feel as though you're watching a goddamn movie. They were very, very good about this, putting that realness to it and everything. And Darby Allin really shined like a motherfucker in this one. I gotta say. I mean, the combination of Sting and Darby, what a great fucking team. Great fucking team there, man. Everybody in this came out looking fucking good, man. Everybody in this came out looking good. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanna say with regards to this match. No, I think I hit all the points with that match. I don't think there's anything else I need to touch upon. Other than that, we talked at great length. We opened up talking about the exploding barbed wire death match, so there's no reason to go into that. If anything, it's now a case of, so what's going to happen there? What's going to happen there with Kenny Omega? Where is the next challenge going to come from? We saw what happened there with Moxley. I would like to believe now, Moxley is probably going to be off TV for a hot little bit. Yeah, at least for a couple of weeks, just to sell what happened in this particular match. Maybe we won't see him for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, give or take. But then after that, what's next? Because as long as Kenny Omega has the Good Brothers and Don Callis by his side, I mean, that is some serious numbers that he has. So, now the real question becomes, okay, so what happens here? Where do we go from here? And we kind of got a little bit of that answer tonight, because look, there's no way you can should you have Moxley show up on Dynamite this week. I just feel, given what had happened with Eddie Kingston and everything, if anybody is going to be coming out on Wednesday's Dynamite, you should have Eddie Kingston come out to confront Kenny Omega. And, you could do a little something right there where Good Brothers, Omega, they pretty much are getting the one up on Kingston the past 2 weeks. I think what this is going to come down to, I dare say, I feel what this is going to come down to is it's going to be Moxley, Kingston. I wonder if Death Triangle might get involved in that, or if the allies may come from the Bucks. I can't help but kind of wonder that, but definitely the odds are gonna be balanced there in numbers for Omega. So now I can't help but wonder, does Omega and Moxley, do they maybe lock up one more time there, or or is it now time that we really go on to a fresh new opponent? And if we are going to move on to a fresh new opponent, where do we go? Do you have Kenny Omega essentially be put in that position where, hey, I've pretty much beaten everybody that's been put before me, and, I'm pretty much undefeated right now. Give me somebody that I've yet to face. Do we maybe get to that point where Christian Cage maybe slides in there and he essentially fights Omega, and he ultimately becomes the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion? I mean, there's a couple of different directions we can go. I think the dust is going to settle, and we'll have a lot more answers to where exactly the Omega story arc continues on to after this Wednesday. So that should be a fun ride. I'm looking forward to that. Hey, one last go. Let's see what's going on with you guys in the polls here. All right, I am looking on Twitter at the RCWR Show. I asked you guys, how would you rate tonight's AEW Revolution pay-per-view? I am seeing that 25% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 75% of you are giving it a thumbs up. By the way, friendly reminder, if you guys did not, I repeat, not check out the Coming to America sequel yet, you're a little bit on the fence, you don't know if you should check it out or not, I actually have available for a limited time. It's going to be available until Monday Night Raw comes on, free on my Patreon page, patreon.com/RCWR Show. You can actually check out my 30 with Lee review on the Coming to America sequel. It's me and lovely Tammy co-hosting on that episode. We teamed up to talk about that movie. So been receiving a couple of emails, private messages, and then on my personal Facebook page, people have been letting me know, hey, yeah, you guys brought up very valid points, from the movie. Totally agree with your review. So you guys have been a little bit on the fence about the sequel. Check out our review. Again, it's available until Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's Monday night, March 8th, 2021, 8 p.m. Eastern. It will be available for free until then. But we did the Twitter poll just now, right? Yeah, we did the Twitter poll. Let's see what you guys have to say on YouTube at youtube.com/RCWR Show. You guys pretty much can click on the communities tab. Let's see what you all had to say over there. 8% of you, that exploding barbed wire match, though. 17% of you said that Sting match, though. 25% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 50% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. My thoughts about the pay-per-view, as far as just, overall, a decent pay-per-view. Quite honestly, I know a lot of people were a little bit taken back. Who is this person? I know a few people were taken back by the fact that the pay-per-view, came to us on a Sunday night, and now you got folks that are kind of wondering to themselves, so is this pretty much going to be the new norm? We now are going to be getting AEW pay-per-views on a Sunday night. I don't know about that. I'm hoping that maybe this was just a one-time experiment for AEW. Like, honestly, if there was ever a time where you're going to do a pay-per-view, I don't think it makes all the sense in the world to be doing a pay-per-view All-Star Weekend, especially when your brother in arms, your partner in arms is essentially Turner Sports. I don't exactly think that makes all the sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? When in a perfect scenario, you kind of want to just stay clear of All-Star Weekend as much as humanly possible. So maybe when they're mapping this out next year, they don't do that. But, I'm like this, as long as there's nothing significantly going down in the world of sports, like NBA finals, shit like that, then I think, honestly, on a Sunday, yeah, go ahead, do it where you can. But I definitely feel they should stick to Saturdays, for sure. They should definitely stick to the Saturdays. But this pay-per-view was not bad. I honestly, let me go back and let me look at the card here. And I sadly do not know who this person is. Sometimes I'll mention something political, something that I watched on TV, not choosing a side, just something that I saw that was kind of interesting, and I'll get the weirdest people. I know you guys can definitely relate to it. Like, for example, you may put out an honest little harmless tweet and say, I love Reese's Puffs. And all of a sudden, you get a follow from some jabroni that all he talks about is Reese's Pieces, everything Reese's Pieces. And it's like, yeah, like, other than that, like, we don't really have nothing else in common, dude. Yeah, peace. It's kind of like one of those types of deals. And they, the type I'm talking about too. They don't talk. They just, anybody that mentions Reese's Pieces, they just like, retweet, follow, like, retweet, follow, like, retweet, follow. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'd rather talk to people that actually know how to talk. Yeah, that's just me. Anyway, let's see. What were we about to do here? I got to get into some Patreon shoutouts too as we get ready to close the show out here. We were talking about the pay-per-view. I wanted to look at the card one more time. I'm looking at the card now. Young Bucks, Inner Circle. That was a good match. Shita, Mizunami. That was good. Hangman, Matt Hardy. Damn good match. Darby Allin, Sting, the Street Fight. That was a good match. Exploding Barbed Wire. That was a good match. We got about 9 matches total that's on here. I can't mention the pre-show match with Britt Baker and them. I can't mention that one because I didn't see that one. So that one I can't include. Actual card, though, I would probably say a 7 out of 10. I can't go any higher. I can't go any lower. If you were to ask me straight up where some of the, issues lie as far as how that couldn't have been a higher number, I think if they just would have trimmed the fat a little bit with the Casino Tag Team Royale match, just take a couple of minutes off of that one, at least 10. Did you really need to take up damn near half hour. I don't really feel you needed to. Just trim 10 minutes off of that. Trim about 9 minutes off of your Face of the Revolution ladder match. See, where else? Where else? I think honestly that's it. I think if you would have just done a little bit of trimming with those, then, and also what went down with the explosions, for me, I easily could have given the pay-per-view an 8 out of 10. Easily an 8 out of 10. I couldn't go any higher. I damn sure can't go any lower. But just like as it stands right now, I give the pay-per-view a 7 out of 10. Respected 7 out of 10. Can't go higher, can't go any lower. 7 out of 10. I don't feel it was a 6 out of 10. I know some of you guys may be saying, well, what about a 6? I don't see a 6 out of 10. I can't go that low. 7 is pretty firm. That's about the best that I can do. And it was interesting too, because leading up to Hangman Page taking on Matt Hardy, up till that point, I was already at a 6 out of 10. Just kind of going with the flow of things. I was already just 6 out of 10. So the fact that we could only get to a 7 out of 10. Actually, you know what? Let me factor in Christian as well. You know what? I did not see Christian. I did not see that happening either. You know what? I'll say 8. I'll say 8 out of 10. Keep everything that I just said into consideration, but let's just go ahead and throw in the Christian Cage thing as well. 8 out of 10. I definitely will not go any lower. I definitely cannot go any higher. 8 out of 10. That's about as good as I can get. Let me know what you guys had thought about the pay-per-view. Hey, I want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR Show. Check out bonus audio video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi. Shout out to Gino Morgan. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Shout out to J.D. Davis. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. Want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers. For your tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, check out Tony Bing Gaming. He's on YouTube. He also has a Patreon paywall as well. Shout out to Wishful Walking Videos. Make sure you check them out on YouTube. Your next edition of the RCWR Show, that is dropping Monday night at 11:05 p.m. Eastern, or as soon as Raw goes off the air. So make sure you tune in. That's going to be a fun show. I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk about Raw. Also talk a little headlines and everything. Should be kind of relatively quiet, I think. But join us for that. That's going to be a much shorter show. So tune in for that. That should be good. We got some more Patreon content that's going to be coming your way this week as well, Patreon members. So stay connected. And, if you're not a Patreon member, do sign up. $5 a month. Get you access to loads of great audio, video content. Great majority of which you ain't going to be able to find anywhere else. As you guys make your exit, please, one more time, make sure if you haven't done so already, you hit the like button. Lets the good guys know you had a good time. Helps them out as far as recommending content and all that. But yeah, like, share, all that good jazz means a ton, all right? Make sure you get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. You made it this far. You were hanging out live. Appreciate the love and support as always. Let's do this again in a little bit. So those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, hey, you guys know I love you guys tremendously as well. Thank you as always. Until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe, most importantly kind to one another. Take care, y'all.